Guys, I'm not even going to intro this one. I'm not going to intro it, but we do have something to talk about today, and what I'm going to be calling a mini episode of Bar for Bar. I think this is. I think what I'm about to talk about today is really big in hip hop, but can also be really good for hip hop, and I'll get to that in a moment. But the game versus Eminem. So, in summary, in case you guys aren't fully aware of the context here or that this was even happening, the game, California rapper, very, very, very famous MC, came on N.O.R.E's show, the drink or not the drink champs, um, and he mentioned there were two main parts that I'm going to touch on here. The one part in which he said Kanye has done more for him in the last month. Keep in mind, this is about a week or two after his track with Kanye, Easy, came out, somewhere along those lines. He said, the Kanye has done more in the last month for me than Dre has done for me in my entire career. There was a sense of saltiness to his voice because the game felt like he should have been invited to perform at the Super Bowl with Dre, Mary J. Blige, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, etc., etc., etc. And then Eminem comes up in the discussion. He goes, "Well, I used to think Eminem was better than me, but he's not. In essence, he said, and then he followed up by saying that he would beat Eminem in a versus battle, and then by also saying, he'd like to get into the studio with, let's compete, let's do this. Like I'm positive I'm a better MC than him." And N.O.R.E's face during the video or during the show is kind of telling of what his response to that is without even saying it. He's just completely flabbergasted. He's like, oh, like the nerve on this guy type thing. But I'm not even necessarily playing devil's advocate today, but I'm more so giving you my straightforward opinion on, well, to a degree, I suppose I am. But let's talk about this. Let's talk about, what I think is going to come from here. Because basically, as of yesterday, which would be April 5th, the game, or Whack 100, who is the game's manager, said that a diss track, supposedly by the title of The Black Slim Shady, is going to be dropping soon. An Eminem diss track from the game. Now, this whole thing has progressed weirdly over the last few months, or over the last month or so. The game has, went on Instagram Live and he doubled down on everything he said on the podcast. He didn't back down. I'm gonna give you a few things about this that I read from my perspective. One, so first off, the game, what he is saying, I think is how every MC should feel about themselves. They should all think they are the best. That is what separates hip hop from any other genre, among many other things, is how competitive it is and how there's this desire to be the best, to be the most superior to the next guy and the next guy after that. That was a huge driving force early in hip hop and still is today. Thinking you can rap better than everyone else. And inherently, while I don't think the game would necessarily beat Eminem in the verses at all, just because Eminem has so many hit records under his belt, that the game really, the game can maybe pull some features, but even then, I think in a hit battle, Eminem would mop the floor with him. With that being said, though, I'm not even necessarily playing devil's advocate here. Like I said, the game is a really, really good rapper. He is a really good MC. There hasn't been a generation since he's a year, I guess, where he's dropped a project, and I can't sit there and consider him not one of the best rappers out. He's rapping at a very high level, consistently, and I think that's very hard to do, especially considering how rare it is to have longevity in hip hop and in music in general, I would say. So, I gotta give the game his flowers. He's a hell of an MC. He's a hell of a songwriter. He's done it. He's been doing this for so long that he deserves his respect. And I think that's what it comes down to. However, when you bring in... So here's what I'm thinking from Eminem's perspective, right? Because Eminem understands this. I mean, coming up as a battle rapper, he has the competitive drive that has made him, so prone to lash out to critics, over the course of his career. So never shy to back down from it, and controversy as well. And Eminem may have been really cool with doing this had Dr. Dre not been brought into the discussion or been like at the forefront of the discussion, really, because that was like what it opened up as on the podcast, if I recall correctly. Because when Eminem is, him and Dr. Dre are very tightly knit. So when you look at how Eminem might approach this had Dr. Dre not been mentioned in the conversation, you're like, okay, Eminem's a competitive spirit. I'm absolutely sure he would love to do that. He would love to hop on a track. He would love to have a versus. He's just as confident, if not more, than the game, and his own ability as an MC. This would be not only great, it would be great for hip hop. And I think everything that's happening right now is great for hip hop either way. But when you bring Dr. Dre into the discussion and you try and discredit him, especially Dre of all people, who has put on so many people, including Eminem in the game in his career, you think about it and you're like, what the fuck does that, like, there's no reason to sit here and try and discredit somebody who clearly you may not have the mainstream stage you do right now without him, without a doubt. So I feel like Eminem's going to take that personally, without a doubt. Eminem's, again, if it was just rap, it was just brought into let's rap it out, let's try and, put hop on a track together, do a versus, whatever, see who's really the best. He would have been cool. Now I'm not exactly expecting a very polite response from Eminem at this point. And Eminem lets a lot of shit go under the rug. The Nick Cannon shit, the fucking a bunch of other people that have randomly dissed him. Lil Pump fucking saying, "Hey, fuck Eminem," sort of shit. But the Game is a pretty high profile rapper and very well respected MC, not only in just West Coast hip hop, but in hip hop in general. So I can only imagine that Eminem will respond, and I can only imagine, and honestly, I'm excited to hear the Black Slim Shady diss track. I remember the last time 50 Cent, Jesus Christ, the Game put out a diss track. It was the Meek Mill diss track he put out about 5 years ago called Pest Control. And to me, that's one of the most underrated diss tracks of all time. I will not go so far to say it's the best, but it is a brutal, from a lyrical standpoint, it's a brutal diss track. Damn, Meek Mill was taking a lot of fucking L's in that period of time. God damn. But anywho, the Game is a very good MC, and I don't want to sit here and tell you he's going to win, because I don't know. I'd say the odds are against him, but you guys are undercrediting his ability, and I would not count him out by any stretch of the imagination, should this, proceed as it seems like it's going to. But yeah, I just want to give my thoughts on that today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'm sorry for the absence of content. I have a huge announcement coming very soon as far as how content on the channel is going to proceed and how content on the podcast itself is going to proceed. So stay tuned. Thank you so much, guys. Whoa, I just yawned. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and listening. I appreciate the continued support of the show and of everything I'm putting out. Until next time, guys, Jack Bender from Bar4Bar, signing off.